Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I thought I'd do something completely different and I'm going to do a get ready with me video, putting on my makeup, and we're also going to learn about rounded binary. So give me a second to zoom in and then we'll get right to it. So first off, I want to say that this video is not sponsored. I'm going to be using all makeup that I've purchased myself, although it is going to show you a little bit more of my bougie side, and I'm a little scared to show you how bougie some of these products are. But the piece that we're going to be analyzing today is by Maria Szymanowska. Now, Maria Szymanowska was a Polish concert pianist living in the late 1700s, early 1800s. I do want to cut in and say I've already kind of done a little priming to my face. I used the Guerlain Youth Watery Oil, and I also just threw on some of the Clarins Lip Comfort Oil in the color Red Berry. And now I'm going to use the Milk Hydro Grip Primer. So Maria Szymanowska was born in Poland, and she eventually settled in St. Petersburg, Russia, but she toured all over Europe as a concert pianist. And this was before Franz Liszt, before Frédéric Chopin, and all of you budding piano players out there, she's one of the first who actually memorized all of her concerts, so you have her to thank for that. And she also composed a lot of music in the style brillant, it just means brilliant style, that Chopin actually made very popular, so she was doing it before he was. So the piece we're going to be listening today is from a composition set of dances that she did. They are 18 dancers in different kinds, so different kinds of styles for the piano. And this one is number 10, I believe, and it is a waltz in F major. So a waltz is a dance that is in triple meter. And I just have a MIDI recording of this for you, so please pardon the MIDI recording, but I'm going to apply the foundation, the Guerlain L'Essentiel Natural Glow Foundation in the color 00C, I guess, while we listen to the recording. So that's the piece. It's an absolutely delightful waltz. And you can really hear this kind of brilliant style in it. It's not just an etude. It's not just a study piece. It's a beautiful performance piece as well. I just use my fingers to apply the foundation. I don't like using brushes or sponges. I just have to wash a sponge. And sometimes I'll use a brush to kind of even it out, but normally my fingers do a good job. I don't apply anything right here because I wear glasses and it just gets stuck to my glasses and then it just rubs right off. So I don't even bother. With that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Okay. So a reminder is that a rounded binary form is basically a two-part form with an A section that is presented, and it can be repeated with actual written repeats on the staff or without any written repeats. And then there's a B section, and that is generally transitional in nature, and we'll review that in a second. And then we have a return to the A section, and that is generally a shorter or truncated version of the original A. And that the A, B, A, that B and A is smushed into its own half of the piece and is then repeated. I don't generally use powder, but today I think I'm going to use the Makeup Forever, the blurring powder foundation, just to kind of set this. and then we'll do some Roman numeral analysis. The brush that I have is an unnamed cheapo brush that I just love. I got it in some kind of kit from Amazon. This is more the type of makeup that I do during the winter, not when it's, 95 degrees out like today, but you know what? We're online, we're in the COVID. I'm gonna do what I want.
I do what I want.
Okay, so let's dig into this form. Now, in order to make life just a little bit easier, I have already circled and labeled all the non-harmonic tones, and I have also done a macro analysis.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, I see that we have a key signature of 1 flat, B flat, and this sounded really happy at the beginning, so it looks like we are in F major. So I'm going to label the key and start the analysis. So my macro analysis I've written in between the staves just because the score was kind of squished together. I wanted to make sure I had room to write my Roman numeral analysis. But that macro analysis is telling us the root of the chord, the quality of the chord, and if it's in an inversion. And in this case, I've written them out like they are guitar chord symbols. So the first measure is an F major chord. We're in F major, that's a 1 chord. Second measure, C7 chord. We're in the key of F, that's a 5-7 chord. Next measure, D minor, that would be a minor 6 chord. And then going to an A major minor 7th chord, that's like an A dominant 7th chord. I want to stop right here to do a review of tonicization versus modulation. And while I do that, I'm going to apply my Cover FX Monochromatic Bronzer Duo in the shade Sunkissed Bronze. I'm going to use this for my bronzer, and I'm just going to use the same brush that I used to apply my powder foundation. So I'm going to put this behind my ear. A tonicization is just a brief 2 chords basically, in which you're tonicizing a chord other than the tonic of the written key. And what we generally use for that, we use applied chords. We'll label it as an applied chord. A modulation is... Oh, Claire's here to say hello. My cat's here to say hello. A modulation is longer. It's longer than just 2 chords, and it leads to a cadence. So in this piece, we actually aren't going to have any modulations. We are going to have a bunch of tonicizations, and I'm going to show you. Normally we've just been writing them as applied chords, but I do actually want to show the fact that we're briefly tonicizing a key other than the predominantly written key there. And so I'm going to show you how to use a bracket thing. I think I'm going to put a little bit of this on my nose. Okay. We'll come back to that. So at this point, I have a tonicization of D minor. And let me show you how that looks. This could be the 1 chord in D minor, and this could be the 5-7. And we can show this with just a little bracket between those 2 chords, and we are tonicizing the key of D, which functions as the 6th chord in the key of F. This is how we're going to analyze all of the tonicizations. Now, let me play the bass line for these first 4 measures because I think it's going to set off a light bulb in your head. It goes. It sounds like Pachelbel's Canon, right?
I'll see you in hell, Pachelbel. Oh.
We are in the middle of a harmonic sequence here, and we have 1 model and 1 copy. Okay, so this is a descending third sequence. Descending third sequence going on right there. All right, as we talk about the next couple of chords, I need to apply some blush. I'm going to use the M Cosmetics Heaven's Glow in Faded Clementine. Okay, the next chord, we have a G minor 7, slash B. That means it's got B in the bass. So that's the first inversion of the chord. So that's just going to be a 2 chord, 6/5 in first inversion. And then we have an F major chord, but it's F/C. So it's a 1 chord, but it's in second inversion. We always want to look and see, are we going to a 5 chord after that? Yes, we are. This is a cadential 6/4, going to a 5/7, which then, sneaky, a little dominant substitution here before we go back to our cadential 6/4, and then a 5/7. I'm going to put a little bit of this on my nose, too. And then I'm going to go back to the Cover Effects duo thing, and I'm going to use this nice little, like, bronzy highlighter just in the high points of my face. So at this point, we have a cadence. Normally, you know, not that there's you can't really say normal for a phrase length. I mean, I guess, sure, normally you'd have a 4-bar phrase, but remember that phrases can be any length. It doesn't matter. Oh, and I'm using an e.l.f. Cosmetics highlighter brush. Get the Cupid's bow. We're at a point of cadence, and look at that nice increase in harmonic rhythm right there at the point of cadence. We like that, and we have a half cadence right here. Okay, going on. We start on the 1 chord, and then we are going to do that thing where we briefly tonicize another key. This is an applied chord right here. It's the, oh, we're in treble clef, 7 fully diminished 7 of D. And then on the next line, I'm going to have D minor again. Remember, in measures 3 and 4, I had D minor go to A major, so we're going to have the same thing where we are briefly tonicizing A major. So I'm going to use my little bracket again. Briefly tonicizing D minor. So I use my little bracket again. And then we continue out to the cadence. 2/6/5, our same predominant harmony from before, goes to a cadential 6/4, goes to a 5/7, goes to a 1. And when we repeat, we get the same thing. So now I'm going to do my brows. I've got a little... This is the Busy Gal brows from Tarte in, black brown is the shade. So I'm going to do that while we talk about the form of this opening section. Now, how do I know I've gotten to the end of a section? Well, 1, there's repeat signs. That is the biggest giveaway here. And if ever there's something like that in a piece of music, yeah, use that as a formal division. If this didn't have any repeat signs, I could tell, 1, there's definitely a cadence here in measures 15 to 16. I'll kind of bracket it this way. And let's see, it definitely goes sol, do in the bass, and in the soprano it goes ti, do. So we have a perfect authentic cadence there. That helps me point to the fact that we're at the place where there's going to be a formal division, where one part of the form will end and the next part of the form will continue on. Also, in the first 15 measures of this piece, it has been continuous. 16th note, 8th notes, no rests, and then finally, I get some rests in measure 16. Let me do my brows. Okay, so I'm going to use this mirror over here. This is the mirror that I use for my bassoon embouchure placement. I already have really fluffy, thick brows, so I just like to kind of darken in the ends a little bit. Oh, what's going on with that one? Do you guys see that one? It's like wayward right there. She's doing what she wants. Oh, and I just got it on my forehead. What is that? Okay, so let's talk about the form of this opening section, which we're going to call the large A section. So I have 2 phrases. The first phrase ends in a half cadence. The second phrase ends in a perfect authentic cadence. The melody, I mean, it's the same continuous motive over and over again. But not only that, and the harmony also. It starts on the 1 chord in both phrases. Now, measures 2 and measures 10 are a little different, but then measures 3 and 11, they have that D minor chord. 4 and 12, they have that A7 chord. So there's a lot of similarities between these phrases. So I'm going to call this a parallel, and there's a half cadence in the middle, and then we re-begin on 1 after the half cadence and then go to a perfect authentic cadence. So this is an interrupted period for that A section. I have a form chart down here at the bottom in which we can start labeling what's going on. So I start with big section A, and then the first phrase I will call little a. We start in the key of F major, and in measure 8 we have a half cadence, and in measure 16 we have a perfect authentic cadence. We don't modulate, so we're just going to hang out in F major. Starting in measure 17, that's where my B section will begin. And starting in measure 9 was, it was similar to A, but it ended in a different cadence. It had a few different chords, so I'm going to call it A prime. I'm also going to show my repeats, and that's my form so far. Okay, moving on to the B section and to what's going to be our transitional phrase. Let's review, let me call this B. And also on the form, while I'm here, I can put A, little A prime. There we go. Now I'm in the B section. So while I'm reviewing what the characteristics of a transitional phrase are, I guess I'm going to start doing my eyes. So I've got the Tati Beauty, this is the Neutrals palette, volume 1. And actually, hold on, I forgot my eye primer. Okay. So for my eye primer, I use the MAC Painterly Pro Long Paint Pot in Painterly. Okay, so transitional phrases. After the presentation of the A section, and this is what all musical form is based on. The idea of you get a presentation of materials and then you play with those materials, but then you need to make the listener feel comfortable again, so you return to the original materials. Again, I just use my finger for this. I don't use a brush when I don't have to. In fact, a lot of my eye looks are just eyeshadow sticks, or I just blend something on with my finger. So the transitional phrase is going to be that place where we deviate from the original material. I'm going to take this, I don't even know, it's a crown brush. Oh, that means this was a crown brush too. BK13 blending brush, and I'm gonna go into the blended neutrals palette, and I'm going to go in with the color Soothe all over my lid. So the transitional phrase is going to play with materials that have already been presented, and it could possibly modulate completely. It could have lots of sequences. It could take motives that we have previously seen and fragment them. That means just kind of break them up and play around with them. Maybe invert them, put them in different registers. Speaking of registers, you could also have a registral shift. You could have a change in texture, which what has the texture been of this piece so far? Well, it's basically been a noodly melody with an chunk chunk accompaniment. So this is homophonic. We have a homophonic texture. Then I'm going to just go in with the shade Aura and just put that up near my brow bone. By the way, I'm going just for a classic look today. I'm going to do a classic red lip. I'm wearing concert black, so I thought that would be a nice pop of color. Okay. We could have a quicker harmonic rhythm. Have I done everything? Oh. Or we could prolong, or we can extend the dominant. And we can either repeat the dominant harmony, so in F major that would be C major a whole lot, or we could have like a dominant pedal. So in F major you'd see a lot of C while other chords change up above it. So those are the things that we are going to be looking for. Since I'm just doing a classic look, I'm going to go in with the matte shade Ritual and just put that, what is this thing called? The hood? I'm going to put it right here. Whatever the name eludes me right now. And I'm just going to darken the outer corner just to give myself some dimension and shape to my eye, knowing full well that this is all going to be covered up by my glasses. And that's fine. You know, sometimes we just wear makeup just to make us feel good. Anyone ever just like have that open fish face while they do? That's me. Okay, then I'm going to use my finger, and I think I'm going to choose the, oh, I forgot the metallic version of the Soothe column, and just pat that on my eye. A little pop of color. Little pop of shimmer. Okay. So now we can talk about the transitional phrase while I kind of clean off my brushes and my finger. I have this Sephora mini color switch thing that I use to clean my brushes in between use. And then, you know, once a week or every other week I clean my brushes and I rinse the little sponge, clean the little spongy thing too. All right, transition phrase. Now I've already told you, I gave it away, that we're not going to modulate in this example. So here we are in the transitional phrase, and if, you know, I already told you we're not going to modulate, so let's go ahead and do the Roman numeral analysis, and then we'll look and see what types of these transitional phrase techniques are taking place, because they don't all have to take place. That would be ridiculous. You just need maybe one for it to be transitional. So still an F major, that's a 5 chord. This is a 1, 6. This is a 5, 6, 4, and this is a 1 in root position. Oh, that's really nice. So this 5, 6, 4 is used as a passing 6, 4 to move. And you can even see the passing nature of it in the bass line there and in this middle voice of the right hand to pass from the 1, 6 down to the 1. And then we go to a 5, 7 and scroll, damn you.
Damn you, vile woman!
My internet has been so slow today. There we go. Whew. Then we go to 1. Then we go to a 2 chord in first inversion. That lasts for the whole next measure, and then we go to 5, 7. Then we get rests. And when we get rests, we need to prepare ourselves. Maybe maybe we just ended one section and we're going to start another section. And in fact, if you look at this measure 26, we start again with the material from the end of the A section. So I'm going to stop there for a second. Let's see what characteristics we have for a transitional phrase. Oh, and I guess while I do that, I can, oh, this is gonna be easy. I'm gonna apply eyeliner while I talk about transitional characteristics. This is the Fenty Flyliner in the color 'Cause I'm Black. Transitional phrase characteristics. Modulation, no, we don't modulate. Oh yeah, trying to talk and do liner. Now I see what all those pros talk about. Sequences. Do we have a sequence? Dun, 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 dun. No, there's no sequences in this example. Should I do a little wing? A little wing-a-ling?
Or maybe some wings. You know, if he's a wing-a-ling dragon. Let's put one of those beefy arms back on him for good measure.
I'll do just the tiniest amount of wing. Fragmentation. You know, it's hard to fragment an chunk chunk and a deedle leedle leedle. So basically the two rhythmic motives. So there's no real fragmentation going on. Prolongation of the dominant. So we've got dominant. This is a passing chord. Dominant. And then dominant. Yeah, there's a lot of 5 in this example before we get to the end. And it even ends on a half cadence before the return back to the A section. So yeah, I can definitely see some prolongation, or at least a little extra repetition here of the 5 chord. Ah, bleep. I messed it up. It's fine, everything's fine. Should I do a fox eye? No, I've never tried that. Why would I try something I've never done before? Woo. There we go. All right, you can see I done messed up.
You done messed up, AA Ron!
But we'll let it dry and then I don't know. Maybe I'll just leave it, you know, whatevs. Okay, what's next? Quicker harmonic rhythm. Not really. I mean, I guess in measure 2, we've got 3 chords instead of 1, but for the rest of it, it's pretty much staying one harmony per measure. I'm gonna do mascara. This is the Worth the Hype mascara from NYX in black. So no quicker harmonic rhythm. A more active rhythm? Well, now the right hand instead of, well, I guess what we should talk about is really the change in texture. And then I'll come back to this. So there's going to be, there's not really a change in texture. It's still homophonic, but there is a registral shift. So the right hand and the left hand have kind of changed roles. The right hand that used to be kind of melodic, deedle-leedle-leedle-leedle-leedle, is now in the left hand. And you know, it's continuing on, and it's now kind of taken on the role of an accompaniment, and the right hand now has a new motive. Dum, 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 okay? So that's new, and so that switch between the hands definitely counts as a registral shift. Now I want to go back and talk about the more active rhythm. I mean, when we're talking about just the changes in rhythm and texture here, there's definitely a swap in the hands, and then a change in the right hand. And then by measure 21, we are back to our original voicing with the left hand doing the accompaniment pattern, chunk, 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 chunk. Okay, so that's what, basically there's 2 things that make this passage transitional. Extra attention to 5, the 5 chord, and also, what was the other thing? Oh, the shift in registers between the right and left hand. Now we're going to return to our A section, but I do want to point out what's going on in the right hand in the end of measure 23 and 24. The left hand drops out completely, and the right hand continues in what's called a melodic link. There are different kinds of links that can be used between phrases. There can be like a left hand accompaniment link, a melodic link. This is a right hand melodic link. And so when you see that bass like drop out, absolutely, you know, like an EDM track. Okay, now we're gonna link into the next section, and then when we put the bass back in, we're back to our A. Okay, before I do my lips, let's finish this out, and then I will line my lips. I can't analyze music and do lipstick at the same time. It's an occupational hazard. Okay. Let's look at these chords. It goes F, C sharp diminished 7, D, A7. These chords are the same as the second half of letter A. Here's my F, here's my C sharp diminished minor, here's my D minor, here's my A. So we're returning to A, and it's going to be shortened, and it's the second half of A. So let's analyze this out here. 1, this is the 7 fully diminished 7. Now before I put /D because it was the end of a line, it was tricky, but now I can use my arrow here if I want to, or even better, I can just bracket all of this as a tonicization of D minor. Then we go to the 2 chord, great predominant chord in first inversion, to a cadential 6/4, to a 5, 6, 5, 5, 7, 5, 6, 5, to 1 here in the first ending, and then the same thing, 5, 6, 5, 5, 7. It's all a bunch of 5 7s to 1. And in both my first and second endings, I end in an IAC. Because, well, you know, I guess fine. We could call it a PAC. This bass note kind of rings in our ears a little bit. So I guess I'll call it a PAC. I'm okay with that. Okay, before I finish out this form chart, I'm going to line my lips in this Crown lip liner pencil in Fuego. Oh, and it's crumbling as I use it. And I always line a little further back into my corners, because that's always what wears off first. Okay. That did not go the best. Normally I prefer the Charlotte Tilbury Lip Cheat lip liner. The red is Kiss and Tell, but this is too bright for the color lip color I want to use. Okay, so our B phrase, or our B section, was made up of one phrase, and it ended in measure 20, 21, 22, 23, I'll say 24 because of the link. And then we return to the A section, and it's an A prime because it's only part of the A. It's only part of the A phrase. Okay, so we have a half cadence right about here. And then A prime. Oh, you know what? I have too many measures on this form chart. I should only have 32 measures. Okay, so these were bonus measures from a previous piece, and we're going to end in a PAC. There we go. And that's our rounded binary form. And this one fits into the paradigm of a rounded binary form very nicely. And to finish our look, I'm going to use the Giorgio Armani Lip Maestro in the shade 400. And yes, I only purchased this because it had the word Maestro in the name. Okay. All right, everyone, so here is the finished look. I really like the lip. I like how creamy and smooth that Lip Maestro is. Again, just a very kind of clean, classic look for you. And here is the clean and classic rounded binary form for you. And as always, the last thing we should do is listen to the example and follow along with the form chart. So that's the end of this look and the end of this analysis. In the description box below, I will put links to the biography of Maria Szymanowska and also links to more of her music. And I will also list all of the products that I use to create this look. If you like this video, go ahead and like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.